Hi, hello everybody, and welcome back to BSG Annual 2022 from the beautiful Astaria Hotel in Venray. My name is Xoneris, and I'm joined by Aeshma. Hi, how's it going?
Thanks for having me. Pretty good. Finally got some sleep.
Right. Sleep is a thing at these events that is kind of rare, so it's good.
Absolutely.
So I have a few questions here for you.
Go ahead.
If people have been following BSG closely, they've seen you around for a bunch of times by now.
They should have.
Some commentaries. One run by now, or was it two?
It was two, yeah.
Oh, already two.
I think it might even be three, if I remember correctly.
In total, you have four. I looked this up. I'm just not sure how many you've done yet.
I think it was two, but no. Oh my God!
You did
See, this is where the sleep part comes in. Oh no, runs myself. I've done Muramasa.
Yeah,
I would do Samurai Jack after this interview, but since we had some schedule changes, this one will actually happen tomorrow morning.
So yeah, my first question is, you kind of made yourself a little bit of a name as the samurai speedrunner. All of the games you speedrun have like a certain samurai theme.
Yes.
And I actually don't know this, despite knowing you for a while. Why is that? Like, why is that your brand? Why are you speedrunning samurai games?
It started with Ghost of Tsushima. I was a very well-known Ghost of Tsushima speedrunner because it was basically everything that I ran for like a year once that game came out. And I went to various online marathons at the time. I think I'd done like 20 runs back-to-back during that time. And
sounds all right, yeah.
And then ESA Winter 2022 came around like at the start of the year. And obviously, I was going to run Ghost of Tsushima there. But since they also had some schedule changes, I actually got my Onimusha Warlords run as a backup run into the schedule as well. So I was running those two games at ESA. And it was that point where I kind of started to notice, hey, I'm running a lot of samurai games because I also ran Muramasa, not at the event, but in general. And I was in the process of starting to practice Samurai Jacks. So I had like 4 samurai games lined up at that point. I was like, is this going to become a thing now? And it kind of turned into a thing from that point onwards. So it's only like been a thing for like half a year at this point. But I'm starting to lean into the whole thing at this point.
Okay, but it wasn't not deliberately like...
Not exactly.
It just like happened to be like...
It kind of just happened.
Okay.
It was just the games that I was really interested in running because, you know, it started, as I said, with Ghost of Tsushima. Onimusha was always a game that was really dear to my heart, so I wanted to speedrun that. Muramasa is a really gorgeous game, as you saw earlier in this marathon, and it just kind of started spiraling from there.
Interesting. I didn't know.
Well,
so you already talked about the first run of yours being Ghost of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of interested. Ghost of Tsushima, I wouldn't describe it as like the best like first speedrun to learn. It's really long. It's like 4 hours, and there's like...
It was even longer at the beginning.
No,
oh no!
The plushies. By the way, you can win these. These are prizes.
In our discussion
$25.
I hope we're not boring you guys.
There we go. Oh yeah. So Ghost of Tsushima,
yes.
4 hours, not a lot of glitches, very straightforward game.
Exactly.
How did that become your first speed game?
It wasn't actually my first one. My very first one was actually Trials of Mana Remake, which was also like a 4-hour-ish speedrun at the point. I think by now it's like a little under 3 hours actually, because the community has been really grinding that out. And I just started playing Ghost of Tsushima. I really loved the game, or I still love the game. And I thought I looked at speedruns of it, and I said, I can do that. So I just started practicing it. But in the beginning, it actually was a 7-hour run because we didn't have New Game Plus yet, and you couldn't skip the cutscenes. So those cutscenes alone added like 2.5 hours to the run itself. And the game is kind of long if you play it on New Game because you don't have any upgrades and stuff like that. So every time we were speedrunning that game, it was a 7-hour run that you have to get through. So that was what we did for like 2 or 3 months until New Game Plus was released.
It sounds like some Final Fantasy type of, like with a lot of cutscenes and, oh my God,
I mean, on
interesting.
the flip side, there were unskippable cutscenes, so you had frequent party breaks in between. So that was kind of nice because every chapter ends with like a 5-minute cutscene or so. So you could regularly, get up and stretch, grab something to drink, go to the bathroom, whatever it was you need to do.
I didn't even know that you speedrun Trials of Mana. That's not a samurai game.
No, it wasn't.
Are you trying to delete it from your run?
To be fair, Duran is part of the setup, and he goes for his Edelfry class, which is kind of a samurai at the point, so it kind of qualifies if you think about it, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So during this, we already talked about this, or briefly mentioned that you have 4 runs during this marathon. We already saw Muramasa.
Exactly.
Which is a beautiful game, as you mentioned. I can confirm.
Absolutely.
So we still have Samurai Jack, Onimusha, and Ghost of Tsushima DLC. So 4 games. Give me one word to describe the speedrun of each of these 4 games.
Muramasa, beautiful. Samurai Jack, childhood, because a lot of us probably watched the show when we were kids. Onimusha, PlayStation 2. It's 2 words, but you know, it was one of the very first games for me for the PlayStation 2.
1 is a number. I'll let that slide.
And for Ghost of Tsushima, I think it's like Origin. For me, as a speedrunner, anyway. I mean, Trials of Mana, as we just established, was my very first speed game. But Ghost of Tsushima was basically my breaking point, so to speak, where I actually became an actual speedrunner because I actually put effort into my runs and started to go from there. Trials of Mana was a little bit more of an experimentation stage, I want to say, for me.
Like getting in like the first few steps, like
exactly.
Like
I mean, the game was great. Like, I really loved it, but I just started to notice that since it's more of an action RPG kind of thing where you control 1 out of 3 characters and the AI takes over the other 2, I just could never wrap my head around not being in control of the other 2 characters and just relying on the AI to do what needed to be done during a speedrun. I just never got really into the habit of being in control of that to go or to actually get a very decent run in. I mean, my times aren't bad, but they're like half an hour or something behind world record if you compare to the other consoles. I mean, I'm still the record holder on PlayStation 4 because I'm the only runner of that category on that system.
Congrats.
Thank you. But if you look at the PC times, they are like consistently under 3 hours. So shout out to the community there. You did an absolute grind. And yeah, if you're up for grabs for a world record on PlayStation 4 Trials of Mana Remake, challenge me, I suppose.
I also know that you are running Trek to Yomi.
Yes. It's basically the only samurai game of me that I do not run.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, is there other speedrun you can do that is like samurai themed?
I mean, those 5 games are basically all my samurai games at the moment. I mean, I just did Trek to Yomi.
The quintafecta of samurai games?
Basically. Because I just did Trek to Yomi during BSG 35, exactly. Like a month or 2 ago by this point. So I guess that's the reason why I didn't get into the schedule this time. But I'm definitely, you know, set up to learn a couple more in the coming months once I'm done with my marathon season that is going on at the moment.
Interesting. That was exactly my next question. So what has Aeshma in store for us? What are the next...
Well...
let me finish. So first of all, what are some of the samurai games you're up to? And is there a game you'd like to speedrun that is not a samurai game?
Oh, that is a pretty good question. Well, I think to answer the first part, the run that I'm mostly interested in at the moment is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, because there is the Zangetsu character, which basically is a samurai if you think about it, because that actually goes back to, once again, ESA Winter 22. Because
sorry to interject, but there is a ritual Bloodstained of the Moon run later.
Curse of the Moon. It's not Ritual of the Night, but it's Curse of the Moon,
there's 2
done
games,
by Etienne.
Right. Yeah, by Etienne. Just,
not the game that I'm trying to speed on yet, but you know, Zangetsu is also in that game, so we'll see about
Close
it.
enough.
Anyway, it goes back to ESA Winter 2022, where I met Bobby, the Blacktastic, for the very first time, and I was already interested in running that game then. But you know, just didn't have the time to do anything with that yet. So I knew he was the world record holder, runner of that game. So I just, you know, grabbed that guy and was like, okay, I know you're running this game at the event. Show me. You know, just give me the rundown of the strategies.
Teach me, senpai.
And he was okay with it. So I just hunkered down next to him with his practice runs. And I was constantly bugging him with questions and stuff like that. And at one point he was like, you know what? You're coming on stream with me and just be my commentary for that run. And I was just sitting there, okay, I will try to learn a little bit of it and just commentate for you. And I noticed that I just couldn't do the inputs with Zangetsu on a normal PlayStation controller because Zangetsu has like fighting game mechanics to it. We have to do specific combo inputs and just couldn't get that down with the controller. So I basically talked to Bobby again. If you know, I could get one of his snack boxes, not one of his snack boxes, but a snack box period, which are these, well, basically fighting game controllers. And I was like, okay, I will bring one for you during ESA summer. So I was like, okay, I will just hold off on practicing that run until I have one of these snack bosses and get into it that way. Now, I guess he forgot to bring me one for ESA summer. I don't know. Maybe there was something else going on. But he didn't exactly forget, because at one point at ESA Winter, he actually gifted me his own snack box controller, which was like a huge move. Like, I was literally
Big shout out
shaking
to Bobby for that.
when Bobby did that. It's like, holy
Absolute king
crap.
move.
Yes, I have that sitting at home right now. I haven't used it yet because I was practicing for BSG, happening right now, obviously. But once I'm done with this event and UKSG, which is coming up in 2 more weeks, which is basically another partner marathon to ESA, also on this very channel, I'll start getting into some Bloodstained. And if everything goes right, and, you know, ESA agrees, we might see a Bloodstained race happening at an ESA
that
soon
sounds
between
really hype.
Bobby and me. I mean, let's, you know, see about that.
Okay, but other samurai games besides that, you have like you're looking at?
The thing is, you know, once I start getting into this whole samurai thing, I was thinking, like, there aren't that many samurai games around, right? Because you don't hear a lot about them. But then I started to deep dive into the theme a little bit more, and there are actually a lot of them out there. You know, I mean, there are obviously stuff like Sekiro, which is a game that is definitely on my list. I mean, I'm a little afraid of it for various reasons, I guess.
Understandable.
There is the Neo series, which are also 2 more games.
Also understandably hard.
There are still a couple Onimusha games out there that I haven't done yet. And there are actually a lot of indie games with samurai themes coming out, like Chronicles of Two Heroes. Oh, damn, there are a couple more, and I forgot to look at them.
That's a lot.
Ido to Yami, I think, is another one, something close to that. There is something with Spirit in the name, which is a game where you control a samurai, a cat, and a Kodama. I'm blanking on the names, sorry. And also a lot more. There is a lot going on with that theme at the moment, which it suits me, for sure.
Good for you, right?
Absolutely.
You're not complaining.
Absolutely not.
All right, then one final question. If people are super busy and they only have time to watch either Samurai Jack, Onimusha, or Ghost of Tsushima, which run do you suggest the most that they absolutely have to catch? Which one of these 3 is the must watch?
I'm going to do a fake out a little bit here and say it depends on what your preference is. Like, if you are really high on Samurai Jack because you just love the show, obviously go ahead, watch that. If you're a little bit of an older gamer, you know, PlayStation 2 era, if you like stuff like Resident Evil, you know, a little bit of the janky voice acting from that era with the Jill sandwich and whatever going on, definitely watch Onimusha, because it's basically the same thing. We can't skip the cutscene, so that 55-minute run is basically 25 minutes unskippable cutscenes, so there's a lot of that going on there. And then Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, if you just like Japan-themed things,
just a reminder,
samurai,
it's the DLC, and not the
yeah,
full,
we're gonna
not the
be
base
running
game.
yeah, but it's still a very beautiful game. You know, it's very fun to watch. It's just if you just like beauty in a way, I want to say, go ahead and watch that run, I suppose.
All right, sick. Thank you very much, Aeshma, for
coming
coming here and answering my questions. I couldn't find a sick segue, but by the way, as you can see, we have some really awesome prizes here. These 3 plushies and these lovely painting are one-of-a-kind prizes you can win at BSG for a minimum donation of $25, cumulative if you want. So get your donations in. And yeah, that's the end of the interview and talking about samurai games. So coming up next, we got Cyber Shadow, which is kind of a ninja game by Diane Keto.
Which I will actually commentate upon.
Yeah, which he will be commentating. So if you like samurai games and Aeshma, please stick around because, like I said, Samurai, Cyber Shadow, Aeshma, Diane Keto coming up next. Please stay tuned. See you in a minute.
Bye-bye.